Hey everybody. So my name is Reagan Jones, and today I'm going to give you a speech on my family history. And how this is going to work is we're going to start with me, and we're going to work our way all the way back down my family tree. So instead of starting with them and going all the way up to me, we're going to start with myself and go all the way down. This is a really fun project for me to do. I actually had a really nice time doing this, considering this is my major, and pulling out a lot of my family history was really fun. I enjoyed that. Just getting to dive in to see what my family was like from that time. I feel like that's something that everybody should know. And for my teacher giving us this project, I think that was really good. So we could learn more about our family history. So she could learn more about our family history and even other people. Because I mean, seeing it from somebody else's perspective about your family could be really cool. So I think that's really cool. But okay, so we're gonna get right into my family history. So obviously it starts with me, Reagan Jones. That's me, and obviously I was born on November 21st, 1997, at Children's Hospital in Little Rock, Arkansas. But I spent first part of my life in Hot Springs, and then from that time I moved on to different places. I lived in Fayetteville. I lived, obviously Hot Springs, and most recently I just moved back to Malvern about 8 years ago. Been living here with my family. I graduated from Ouachita in 2017, and my senior year out of high school, I signed with Nebraska Christian College in Papillion, Nebraska, on a basketball scholarship. That was really surreal for me. That was something I put a lot of time into to get to that point, and it was nice to see the hard work paid off. And I believe that hard work is a testament to everything that we do. I pride myself on that, honestly. So that was really good. I enjoyed that experience, and yeah. So in my time in Nebraska, I was able to work the 2018 NCAA men's basketball tournament. I thought that was really fun. I enjoyed that. And after completing my freshman year, I decided to come home and go to college. And when I got home, I started, doing my coaching, because obviously that's what I'm going to be doing one day. And so that was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. So now we're going to my parents. My parents, they're really interesting people. I like them a lot. I got a lot of love for them, for sure. My dad was born in 1971, and my mom was born in 1974. My mom's first name, her maiden name is Brandy Beth Richter. She goes by Brandy Wooten now, but it was Richter at one point. My dad is Christopher Merle Jones. I really like my dad a lot. He's a big reason I want to go into coaching. I mean, he's not obviously the full reason, but he's a big reason that I want to. So I give a lot of credit to him about that. We spend a lot of time, talking about basketball, talking about things that I can improve as a coach, and obviously as a player, because I'm still playing, and I plan to play in the fall, so that'll be fun. But anyway, on top of all my parents, I have two sisters. Donovan's 21, Taylor is 23, and I have a half sister named Greta. We have a same dad, different mom, and she's I think 13 now, 13 or 14. And a fun fact about this project, even though I did trace my mom's side, my dad's side had a lot of interesting facts too. So I want to throw a couple of those in there real quick. One of the interesting facts was my dad was born on the Indian reservation in Washington State, obviously Washington State, and it was pretty cool. His mom is full-blooded Native American, and his dad is white, so obviously he's not full Native, but he's got a lot of really rich Native heritage on that side, and that ties into me, obviously, because we're family, and so I thought that was really interesting. That was something cool that I had forgotten about, but I decided to include it. Yeah. So on to my grandparents now. My grandparents, those people, I can't ever explain how much they've done for me. I enjoy them a lot. They're great people. Um, my grandma's name is Wendy Richter, and my grandpa's name is Larry Richter. They were both born around. My grandma was born in '55, and my grandpa was born in '52. My grandpa was a fisherman for like over half his life, and then after that, he did construction. Um, he was a really good fisherman. I thought, even when I go fish, I've gone fishing with him before, and there have been times that I've seen him just like catch all these fish at one time. Just the way he just does that is like really cool. Um, really good thing about my grandma is, she was the Arkansas State historian and archives. She worked at archives too at the state capitol. She did that for many years. And before that, she was a professor at OBU, and then she went to the archives at the Arkansas State History Commission, and then she went back to OBU while I was still in high school, and she taught there. She taught Arkansas history, and there were some other classes I think she taught as well. So she's also a big reason that I want to go to college, big reason, that I want to finish college and, become a teacher and coach and teach history on top of all that. I made her a promise that I would go to college and I would finish, and so I feel like that's something that I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna keep that promise to her and do it. My great grandparents, these people are really cool. I like them a lot. So my grandma, his name is Gladys Marie Ballard. It was Gladys Bradley at one point, and then my grandpa's name is Manuel Bradley. Couldn't find a middle name on him though. That's okay. Um, Gladys was born August 15th, 1971, and she unfortunately passed away on December 7th, 2007, and she's buried at Grants Chapel Cemetery. Um, Gladys was a really interesting, interesting lady. She had like the sweetest. She got a heart of gold. She got a heart of gold, and she always knew how to put a smile on my face as a kid. And I would always go see her, and she would always take me to the candy shop at the retirement home that she lived at. And she was just one of the nicest ladies. Was one of the most purest people I've ever met in my entire life. As far as Manuel goes, I really didn't get to know Manuel a lot. He died when I was really young. He died in 2000, so I was probably about 3 or 4 when that happened. It was really hard on our family for a little bit after that. But Gladys was a postmaster for 40 years in Blakely or Jessieville, Arkansas, whatever, just however you want to, combine those two places together. She was there for about 40 years. And Manuel was really interesting because he was in, World War II on George Patton's Third Army that made it, that marched across the European soil at the Battle of Bulge. So that was a really interesting fact that I found out. It was really cool to see him, see that information. Cool thing about Manuel and Gladys, they met on New Year's Day, and then they were married like not that much longer later. Like later on down the line, that they got married. I think it was like maybe a few weeks later. I'm pretty sure. From the information that I've been able to find, I think it was a few weeks later, so that was pretty interesting. So next we go to my great great grandparents. My great great grandma was named Irene Roper. She was born June 4th, 1890. She unfortunately passed away May 3rd, 1979, and was buried at Bethlehem Cemetery in Clark County. Charlie, my grandpa, was born December 22nd, 1881. He died November 21st, which is actually my birthday. He was buried at Bethlehem Cemetery as well. So that's cool that they got to be buried together. I thought that was really interesting. On one of the pictures that I put in my presentation, there was a very vague picture. You could see it obviously as clear as day, but the writing on it wasn't very clear. It was a diary that Charlie kept, and he would always sit there and he would just, and from what my grandma told me, he would always write in that diary every day. He'd write about what he was doing that day, how he was going to do it, So I thought that was really interesting. So that was something that I wanted to put in the presentation, and I was very happy I was able to find that because I thought that was really interesting. There's also a picture in this presentation that had Charlie sitting on top of like a hay bale, and pictures were very rare back in that time. It was very rare to find a picture, and if you did, it was really a rare find because in that time, only rich people had cameras, and that's what my grandma always said. Rich people have all the cameras and all this and that, and so she's not really sure who would have took that picture. Obviously, I'm not sure either, but I thought that was really cool to find. So I thought that was really cool. Irene and Charlie were really, really cool people. My grandma still tells me that they were pretty cool people. So, my great grandparents, William Bill Bradley, he was my great grandpa. He was born January 8th, 1804. He died August 26th, 1933. He was buried at Buckville Cemetery. And real quick about Buckville, that's a family cemetery for like my family, like the Bradleys. So anybody that's like a Bradley is probably going to be buried there. Like my grandma plans to be buried there. My grandpa plans to be buried there. Their headstones are already in place there, and that's just like a family cemetery. That's where they plan to be buried at, and it's a family place. It's on the I'm pretty sure it's on the Washita Lake. Very nice, beautiful outlook of the lake. Just a really pretty place. We have a lot of family reunions there actually, so a lot of our family's buried there, and I think it's gonna be good for my family whenever that time comes for them to be buried there. I think they'll go out peacefully knowing that that's where they get to be buried at and get to be shown. So, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna be buried there yet. Obviously that's a family thing, but I think it's a really, really nice place. But anyway, back to my great grandparents. My great grandma Lucy Chapman. She was born April 10th, 1848, and she died 1883. And another thing about William Bill is he had, I'm pretty sure he had three wives. He had Hepsy Turt. They didn't have any known children together. Lucy Chapman, which obviously his second wife. They had 5 children. Lizzie Sharp Bradley was his third wife. They also had 5 children. So in all, William had 10 children, and that's a lot, for that time. 10 children is a lot for today or that time, whenever. And I thought that was really interesting because obviously today, with things like abortion and all that stuff, they didn't have that kind of stuff back then. So you couldn't really just, if you didn't want a kid, you really didn't have a choice to like say, hey, I don't want this kid. Like you kind of had to have that kid. So 10 children, that's a lot. And I think that's one thing that's really different from today versus that time. Like there was a lot more people having a lot more kids. So the family tree is really big. Honestly, I didn't find any information on any of those kids. Some of them I did, some of them I didn't, but I didn't include it in the presentation. Another cool thing about William Bill was he was a Confederate soldier, and in the presentation I included a copy of his veterans application pension. Obviously I didn't include the full snippet of the application. It was just about 3 or 4 pages long of what I could find. It was a pretty long application, and it was really hard to obtain sometimes. On to my great grandparents now. James Bradley, he was born 1804 in South Carolina. So that's cool to see some family that wasn't from Arkansas initially, but moved here later on. He died on February 22nd, 1862, and supposedly said that he was buried near Butterfield in Hot Spring County, but I couldn't fully confirm that information. Um, my great grandma, her maiden name is unknown, but her first name is Margaret. She was born in 1820. There's no specific day on that, the day of her birth. She died. There's no specific year on that either, but from her age, saying she was 54 when she died, so it was probably around 1860, 1865. Like I said, couldn't fully confirm that. There wasn't much information on James, but a really cool fact that I found: 1847, he sold his land in Independence County to his son-in-law, William Duncan Merriweather, and he moved to Hot Spring County. And how I was able to confirm that information was looking in the census record of 1850, and that was very interesting to find. I also put a picture in there of the census record. Really hard to see, but his name shows up in there, so I knew that I had some good information finding that. My great grandpa, Lawrence Bradley, born in 1758 in Caroline County, Virginia. That was cool for me because I had a bunch of family that I didn't know about. I thought that was really cool, seeing family that was born from out of Arkansas but eventually moving to Arkansas. And that's a long way, Virginia from Arkansas, so obviously there's obviously some reason there for moving. So I thought that was really interesting. As far as my grandma's side of that, Elizabeth Betsy Hammond, 1762, she was born in North Carolina. So it's cool to see both those people born in different states, and then eventually coming to Arkansas. An interesting fact about this one was there was a really big gap, a difference in between when they died. So Lawrence died in 1828 in Sulphur County, Arkansas, and Elizabeth died 1845 in Independence County. It's been said that the family moved to Independence County before 1830. He had brothers, James and Washington Bradley were his brothers. They were listed in the 1840 census record of Black River Township, which is in Independence County. Lawrence was a Revolutionary War soldier, and I think he died right around that time of the Revolutionary War. So that was probably the reason for the big gap difference in death years. That's about I would say about a 16, 17, 18 year difference. So I thought that was really interesting. And Lawrence died in 1758, and Elizabeth died in 1762. So that was as far as I traced back. I think it's really interesting that, through this project I was able to, piece together everybody's information one by one, one slide from the next, and how it all pieced together, how everybody was able to be cohesive together and be shown like boom, 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 like that. I thought that was really interesting. I enjoyed this project a lot. I enjoyed looking and seeing, what I could find. I thought that there's a lot of good history in my family. I thought that was really good. But of course, everybody's gonna have really good history in their family. So I thought that was really, really interesting. Just goes to show you how much you really don't know about your family until you actually do some research. So I was really happy I was able to find that. So, but that's my speech, and I hope you all enjoy it very much.